What's up, everybody? Now, this is what the Lord has to say about the mass deportation that is going on currently in the United States. Wherever you are, if you are in this situation or if you know any loved one that is going through this situation, I want you to listen or you share this message out with them because God has something for his children that are in this situation. This message is very important and is going out to the children of God that is currently facing unexpected situations like this. God bless the nation of America. God bless the President, Donald Trump. Now, as we all know, issues relating to migration has been one major event the Lord spoke about in the Bible. Now, once we reflect to the past history of Israel, we will all know how the Lord handled situations like this. Now, God has given a revelational message out to be shared to these people that are in this situation. And I just don't want to waste much time. I'm going to play out this message that was sent in by a brother in the United States based on what God has shown to him about the issues currently going on in the land of the United States. So wherever you are, I want you to pay close attention as I share out this brother's message out with you. Please pray about it. Seek discernment from the Lord concerning this message. If this is your first time watching a video on this channel, I'd like to welcome you and say a very big thank you. Please do not forget to like this video as it will help the video grow to reach a lot of people who are supposed to see and hear this message so that they will be able to know what to do in these difficult and hard times.
Good morning, sir. I came across your channel about 2 months ago. Please continue the good work of God and may He strengthen you. I pray God continues to stir the hearts of men to show support toward your agenda of winning souls for God. I had a vision on the 24th of January 2025. We may not understand the spiritual implications of things until it happens. May God bless Donald Trump and the land of America. I am an American, but I would love to keep my identity hidden. I still do not understand what was shown to me, but I believe the anointed ones among your audience will help me understand this if I probably give a wrong interpretation of it. You are absolutely wrong if you judge this to be politics or the law. This is a deliverance coming from the Lord. God showed me a shocking vision concerning what is currently going on in America. This is for God's children who are facing deportation. Leviticus chapter 19, verses 33 to 34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. 34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. On that day, my mind was heavy with thoughts, and my heart felt burdened for a reason I can't pinpoint. But then, there were so many things to think about, bills to pay, responsibilities to handle, and worries about what tomorrow would bring. But the truth is, none of them crossed my mind for me to say it's the reason for my burden. So, I did what I always do when I feel like this. I prayed. I closed my eyes and whispered to God, telling Him everything that was in my heart. As I prayed, something strange happened. A deep tiredness came over me. Not like normal sleepiness, but something stronger. It was as if my body was being pulled into rest, as if a hand was gently pressing me down, telling me to let go. My eyelids became heavy, and though I wanted to fight it, I couldn't. I laid back. The world around me faded, and before I knew it, everything went still. A strange feeling came over me. My body felt the light, as if I was no longer lying on my bed. It was like something invisible had taken hold of me, gently lifting me up. I couldn't move, yet I wasn't afraid. It was very peaceful. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I wasn't in the world I had just left. Time felt different, like it had no meaning. There was no day or night, no past or future. Everything around me was silent. That's how I felt. Then suddenly, I didn't know how, but I had entered a place that was not of this world. My eyes opened, and before me was a scene I had only read about in the Bible. It was real. It was happening right in front of me. Before me stood a vast sea. its waters stretching endlessly in both directions. The sky was dark. I could hear the voices of hundreds, maybe thousands, crying out in fear. I turned and saw men, women, and children, all dressed in simple, worn clothes. They were looking with desperation. Then I saw what they were running from. It was an army. I saw chariots rumbling in the distance, horses galloping fast. The sound of soldiers shouting sent fear and panic to the people. I saw how at the front of the crowd stood a man, tall and strong, holding a staff in his hand. Instantly, I knew it was Moses. He lifted his staff high above his head and stretched his hand toward the sea. Then, something impossible happened. The sea began to split apart. Walls of water rose on both sides, towering high, leaving a dry path in the middle. One by one, they stepped forward into it. When I say they, I mean the children of Israel. I stood there, watching the last of the Israelites step onto the other side. The Egyptian army was closing in, their chariots racing toward the path through the sea. I knew what was about to happen. I had read this story before. But why was I seeing it now? I turned my sight upward, my heart heavy with questions. Lord, why am I here? I asked silently. Why are you showing me something that happened so long ago? There was no answer. I called out again. What does this mean? What am I supposed to see? Yet there was no response. It wasn't that God wasn't there. He was. I could feel his presence, powerful and near, but he wasn't speaking yet. Suddenly, everything around me began to change. It started to fade, as if the wind had carried it away. I looked around. The world was no longer ancient. The clothes, the buildings, the streets. It was modern. I stood in the land of America because of the things I saw around me. In this new scene, I saw men and women running. Some hid behind buildings, others darted into alleyways, trying to escape. Sirens wailed in the distance. The sound of doors being kicked open could be heard everywhere. Everyone was in great panic. Then I saw officials in uniforms chasing the people down. I saw people being caught and apprehended. They were put in handcuffs. Others were still running. The scene before me was different from the Red Sea crossing, yet it carried the same meaning, the same fear, the same cry for deliverance. I stood there, my heart running up and down. Lord, what are you showing me? I asked. Some tried to reason with the officers, but their words fell on deaf ears. The law was being enforced, and no amount of begging could change it. Some immigrants huddled in corners. Others ran aimlessly, trying to escape, but there was nowhere to go. I wanted to do something, to step in, to stop the chaos, but I couldn't move. I could only watch. As the vision displayed before me, an understanding began to grow within my heart. It was like a light had been switched on in my mind, and I suddenly knew what I was seeing. The Lord wasn't just showing me a scene from the past or a moment of suffering. He was revealing a deeper truth, a message for today. I felt it clearly now. The plight of these immigrants, the fear, the confusion, it wasn't just about what they were facing at that moment. It was a call, a reminder of a greater need. The Lord was showing me that just as the Israelites had been desperate for deliverance in the face of their enemies, so too were these people desperate for a way out, a refuge. I could hear his voice, not in words but in my spirit, gentle yet firm. It is time for all immigrants to turn to me. I will be their refuge. I saw a gathering of people, not in the streets or in the courts, but in their homes, in their quiet places. The Lord was calling them to seek him, to fast and to pray. Seek my face, he seemed to say. I will show up. I will make a way for you. I knew then that it wasn't just a matter of politics or law. It was a matter of faith, a call for them to trust in God for their deliverance, just as the Israelites trusted him at the Red Sea. They needed to fast, to humble themselves before God, to lay their fears at his feet. Through prayer, through seeking him, God would open a way for them, just as he had parted the Red Sea for his people so many years ago. Slowly, I felt the world around me shift. The vision began to fade. and I found myself slowly returning to where I had started, back in my room, back to my bed. The physical world began to reclaim its hold on me. As I opened my eyes, I felt the presence of God. It wasn't loud or overwhelming, but it was undeniable. It was like He had never left, like He had been with me in the vision and was now still with me, surrounding me with His peace. There was a calmness in my heart that I couldn't explain. I felt to say this to Christians across the world: we must pray like never before. Pray for the immigrants facing deportation, not only in the land of America, but in every part of the world. God will be their refuge. Pray for the authorities that God will move their hearts to act with mercy and wisdom. And if it is the will of God for the president to take this action, then may he do it as it will please the Lord. Pray for revival, that in these desperate times people will turn to God and find salvation. God is a refuge for those who trust in Him. He has promised that He will never leave nor forsake His people. As Christians, we must not only believe this for ourselves, but also proclaim it to those who are desperate for hope. We are called to be the light in the darkness, the voice that reminds the world that our God is mighty to save. Let us not grow weary in prayer. Let us not turn a blind eye to the suffering around us. Instead, let us rise in faith, knowing that just as God made a way for the Israelites, He will make a way for those who trust in Him today. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. God bless you and thank you very much. I believe you heard everything that was stated in this brother's revelation concerning the mass deportation that is currently going on. Now, this is to the children of God. I know definitely there are a whole lot of people that are involved in this deportation who are actually believers or children of God. Now, God is not going to leave you in such a situation where you will be stranded or will be frustrated and not to know what to do. Now, this exercise or this activity that is currently going on in the United States is going to leave families separated. It's going to take loved ones away from their families. Families are going to be dispersed. And, it is not easy. Okay, it is not easy. We all understand the situations that is currently going on in various homes. People are hiding and they do not even know what to do. They do not even know where to find shelter for themselves just because of this. Now, all I can say about this is that if the Lord leads you to your home country or wherever you belong, just follow that instruction and go there. Whatever that led you to the United States, I strongly believe that God can lead you to do that same thing in your own country, because God can bless you anywhere. God can protect you anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you find yourself, because God is the creator of heaven and earth and the whole universe. So there is no part of the world that you are in that God cannot bless you. Do not be disappointed. Whatever that God is saying in this brother's revelation, just pay close attention to it. Seek the Lord in prayer. This is not the time for you to be turning to human beings. This is the time for you to look up to God alone, and He's going to be your refuge. If you do not have anywhere to go and you're going to be deported, just know that God is going to be at the end of the tunnel. Wherever you be deported to, God is going to be ahead of you over there and will receive you and make sure that you're going to be safe and sound. I believe that this message is actually going to encourage our dear brothers and sisters that are going through this. If you are not in this situation, you can also say a prayer for them so that God will guide them and lead them through this times that they are going through. Thank you very much and God bless you till we meet again.